There's a reason why the moment a man disappears, the feminine suddenly feels everything she once ignored. Because absence is not empty, silence is not weak, distance is not indifference. It is power. A woman does not feel a man's presence when he is constantly available, explaining himself, chasing reassurance, begging for scraps of attention. She feels him most in the void he leaves behind, the space where his energy once was. When a man stops trying to force connection, that is when she realizes how deeply he once touched her soul. Most men never learn this. They chase validation like starving wolves, hoping the feminine will give them the sense of worth they refuse to build within. They text more, call more, try harder. And the harder they try, the less they are seen. A man suffocates his own aura when he tries to prove it. The masculine is not proven by pursuit, but by presence, by direction, by silence when silence speaks louder than demands. When a woman feels she has complete access to a man, his emotions, his time, his attention, she unconsciously withdraws. The feminine instinct tests boundaries, searching for strength. If she pushes and he clings tighter, her respect evaporates. Her desire dies. Her admiration fades. She sees a boy who fears loss more than he values himself. But the man who disappears without anger or desperation, he awakens something ancient inside her. She begins to question, what was he thinking? Why did he stop trying? Has he moved on? Her mind fills with uncertainty because uncertainty fuels attraction. This is not manipulation. This is polarity, the cosmic dance between pursuit and retreat, chaos and order, the eternal tension that ignites desire. Jung understood something few dared to accept. The shadow of a man's longing must be mastered, not indulged. If he cannot detach from his own neediness, he will be devoured by it. A powerful man does not block. Blocking is still attention. A powerful man does not chase. Chasing is self-abandonment. A powerful man does not argue or explain. Explanation is submission of power. He simply becomes a ghost, not to punish, but to protect his masculine essence. His energy is withdrawn like a tide returning to the depths, and in that withdrawal, she suddenly feels the absence of the sun, a cold space where warmth once resided. If a man knew how magnetic his silence becomes, the moment he stops fighting to be understood, he would never again waste a breath trying to be chosen. For the first time, she will feel the weight of what she once took for granted.
Women do not fall for the man who needs them. They fall for the man who could walk away at any moment, yet chooses not to, for now. Desire is born in uncertainty. Longing is sharpened by distance. Admiration grows in silence. A man who disappears is not running, he is rising. He is stepping back from the illusions of pursuit, from the emotional theater of modern relationships where attention is currency and insecurity is exploited. He is no longer performing for approval. He is reclaiming the energy he once scattered carelessly. This departure is not dramatic. It is calm, almost holy, a quiet severing of invisible strings. He does not announce his absence. He does not demand she understand his worth. He simply allows life to reveal the difference between his presence and the noise of all others. The feminine psyche is wired to feel loss before it recognizes value. She awakens only when something she relied upon suddenly vanishes, like the steady beat of a drum that stops mid-rhythm, leaving her desperate for the next strike. She scrolls through old messages, replaying the moments where his attention felt guaranteed. She remembers the laugh, the eyes, the masculine certainty she once took lightly. Now she wonders, was he always this strong? Did I misjudge him? Have I already lost what most women search their whole lives to find? As the man detaches, he begins to see her clearly. The fog of desire lifts, the emotional distortions fade. He realizes how much he tolerated, how much he sacrificed, how much of himself he dissolved just to keep the illusion of connection alive. And in that clarity, a new archetype emerges, the man who refuses to drown in shallow waters. Jung taught that true power lies in integrating one's shadow, not projecting it onto the world. When a man disappears, he turns inward. He confronts the parts of himself that begged to be chosen. He looks into the eyes of his own need and does not flinch. He understands that love without self-respect is self-betrayal. Affection bought with insecurity is never real. Connection forced by fear is already broken. So he retreats, not to win her back, but to rebuild his throne. His silence becomes his fortress. His absence becomes his strategy. His self-respect becomes the magnet of destiny. Because a king does not chase. A king sits on his mountain, and those meant for him climb.
In the psychology of attraction, the feminine responds not to pressure, but to polarity. Not to a man's efforts, but to his essence. Not to pursuit, but to the mystery of independence. When he disappears, he is no longer acting from wounded ego or anxious attachment. He is acting from sovereignty. He becomes a man who no longer needs her to see him in order to see himself. And that shift in energy is seismic. The feminine feels it instantly. Because now there is nothing to push against, nothing to test, no reaction to provoke. His silence becomes a mirror, forcing her to confront her own assumptions, her own behavior, her own uncertainty. The attention she once expected is replaced with a question she cannot ignore. Why did he stop trying? In that moment, his absence becomes presence, his distance becomes dominance, his stillness becomes influence. This is where the alchemy of desire begins. A man must understand the feminine tests not to destroy him, but to find the boundaries of his strength. She wants to feel the spine of his soul, the part of him that will not bend regardless of her storms. She wants to trust that his purpose, his mission, his life will never shrink just to fit inside her arms. But when he becomes addicted to her validation, he becomes small, predictable, forgettable. No woman desires a man she fully possesses. So, his disappearance triggers a subconscious fear, the fear of losing what she never fully appreciated. Now she becomes the one who stays awake replaying conversations, the one who checks if he viewed her story, the one who suddenly invests the effort she once withheld. This reversal isn't accidental. It is the natural response to regained masculine polarity. As he retreats, he begins his transformation. He pours his energy back into his body, training discipline into muscle and bone. He pours it back into his purpose, sharpening ambition into legacy. He pours it back into his soul, integrating shadow into power. And as he transitions from boyhood hunger to manhood sovereignty, something profound happens. He no longer seeks to be chosen, he chooses. The feminine, sensing this new power, returns not for attention, but for alignment. She feels drawn to the mystery, to the calm force that is no longer hers to command. The man who disappears does not vanish into emptiness. He disappears into becoming. And when he returns, if he returns, he is no longer the same. There is a shift inside the man that the feminine can't ignore. He is no longer captured by the gravity of her approval. He walks with a direction that does not orbit her validation. This is where his energy turns magnetic. For when a man detaches from needing to be loved, he becomes impossible to forget. His silence is no longer wounded, it is intentional. His distance is no longer emotional retreat, it is emotional evolution. His presence, even in absence, becomes a storm held in perfect control. The feminine psyche is wired to notice this shift. It senses when a man has stepped back into his throne, because now there is no pursuit, only presence on his own terms. She begins to feel the contrast. When she reaches out and he replies later, calmly, briefly, without urgency, when his life seems full and she is no longer the center, when his eyes no longer plead but simply observe, she feels the ground move beneath her feet. Suddenly, he is unpredictable, mysterious, desired by the unknown, and nothing awakens a woman's attraction faster than the return of competition. She will test again, but not from arrogance, from fear, from longing, from the realization that he is not guaranteed. Jung taught that we only cling to what reflects our missing pieces. She now sees in him the solidity she lacks, the direction she craves, the masculine calm that steadies the storms she cannot tame. She wants to feel chosen again, but this time by a man who does not choose lightly. Meanwhile, he is no longer moved by emotional chaos. He sees her reactions not as threats to his worth, but as expressions of her own internal struggle. He understands nature. He understands polarity. He understands himself. He recognizes that the feminine's desire is not nourished by constant closeness, but by the sacred rhythm of connection and withdrawal. Desire breathes in space. Longing grows in mystery. Love deepens when two destinies walk side by side, not hand in desperation. He has become a man with a life, not a man waiting for one. And now the feminine must face the reality that terrifies her most. She cannot control what is already whole. His disappearance taught her that a man who chooses silence holds more power than a man who chooses argument. A man who decides to walk away holds more influence than a man who begs to stay. This is the paradox she now lives with. He is gone, yet he is everywhere.
The man who disappears steps into a battlefield few dare to enter, the battlefield of his own inner world. Here, the noise of others fades. The temptation to chase dissolves. The compulsive urge to prove himself dies like yesterday's hunger. He faces the most dangerous enemy, the version of himself that once needed permission to exist. In this solitude, he discovers what every great man eventually learns, that power is never granted by another. It is claimed through self-confrontation. The masculine matures the moment it stops seeking an audience. He studies his wounds, not with shame, but with curiosity. He sees where he abandoned himself to win affection. He sees how his insecurities shaped his behavior. He sees the boy inside him who only wanted to be enough. And instead of rejecting that boy, he integrates him as Jung commanded. Shadow becomes strength. Insecurity becomes awareness. Fear becomes fuel. This is the rebirth of a man who no longer asks to be chosen. He chooses himself. While he evolves, she watches from a distance, rarely admitting the storm forming inside her. She notices his posture change, the way he laughs more freely, the way his eyes see beyond the ordinary. She sees the absence of craving in his energy, a silence stronger than any declaration. She remembers when he was always available, when his heart sat in her hands like something fragile, when he needed her. Now, she is the one who feels the fragility. She is the one who wonders if she was ever enough. She is the one who fears the door has quietly closed. The truth is painful. She never desired the version of him who bowed. She desires the version who stands. He becomes a man led by vision, not attachment. Purpose sharpens his every step. Discipline shapes his identity. Stillness becomes his weapon. Women are drawn to men who belong to something larger than love, a mission, a kingdom, a destiny. A man who is not distracted by desire is the man desire chases. So he walks forward without looking back, not as abandonment, but as elevation, not as punishment, but as liberation. Not to make her miss him, but because he refuses to miss out on himself. And now she must confront an unexpected truth. He is no longer disappearing, he is ascending.
When a man rises, he enters a realm where chasing becomes impossible because his back is turned toward the world that once held him down. He now lives by a code, a path, a quiet fire inside that asks for no validation to burn. Women feel this transformation not through words, but through vibration, an unseen force that whispers, "He no longer needs you." That truth shakes the feminine at its core, because the feminine desires to be chosen, but only by a man who has other options, who has a future beyond her touch, who stands rooted in his own authority. A man fully alive in his mission becomes a gravitational field. He doesn't ask for attention. Attention finds him. She will come closer. She will try again. She will send signs wrapped in subtlety, a like on a post, a late-night message, a casual attempt to reclaim space in his mind. But now the dynamic has flipped. She is reaching. He is deciding. He offers nothing beyond truth, no promises, no apologies, no performance. If she wants a place in his life now, she must rise to the level where he lives, not drag him back to the world he outgrew. The masculine journey is not a chase for love, it is a pilgrimage toward sovereignty. For the first time, he understands that intimacy without respect is poison, that desire without boundaries is chaos, that love without self-possession is collapse. He trusts the natural laws. If she values him, she will come. If she regrets losing him, she will show it. If she doesn't, he was never meant to stay. Masculinity is not proven by holding on, it is proven by letting go and remaining whole. So he continues forward. Every step away deepens his power. Every silent day reinforces his resolve. Every moment invested in himself becomes a declaration. I was always enough, even when I forgot. And in that realization, the feminine's feelings transform. The man she once thought she could replace now becomes the standard she cannot surpass. Every new conversation disappoints. Every new man falls short. The spark she once ignored now haunts her memory. She realizes too late. He was not trying to be loved. He was offering love as a gift, and she mistook it for something common. This is the lesson most women learn only after the departure of the man who truly cared. A man who disappears doesn't leave emptiness behind. He leaves the echo of what will never return.
There comes a moment when the man stops looking back entirely, not because he is cold, but because he is awake. He understands now that attachment is not the same as love. Attachment clings. Love respects. Attachment fears loss. Love trusts strength. And strength demands distance from anything that diminishes the soul. His transformation becomes complete when he no longer disappears for her, but for him, when silence is no longer a tactic, but a lifestyle of peace, when solitude feels like home, not punishment,
when purpose drowns out the noise of insecurity. In this state, he no longer measures his worth by how desired he is. He measures it by how deeply he embodies his truth. If she returns, he greets her with calm eyes, but not open doors. He is not angry, he is not bitter. He simply remembers that love is not proven by suffering. He has no desire to teach her a lesson. Life already did. She sees a man reborn from the ashes of his former self, the version who once begged to be seen. He now radiates a presence that needs no witness. His silence is no longer empty, it is full of answers. For the first time, she realizes that losing him was not his failure, it was hers. But he does not celebrate her regret, nor does he cling to her sorrow. He has shed the need to be wanted. He has risen above the game entirely. Because the masculine's ultimate victory is not winning a woman back, it is gaining himself back. This is the secret that separates boys from men. The boy seeks completion in the feminine. The man seeks completion in his mission, and the feminine is drawn to follow. He does not return to the old story. He writes a new one. A narrative where he stands tall, calm, unshaken, guided by his inner compass, not external applause. He has learned the most ancient truth of desire. Chasing makes you forgettable. Disappearing makes you unforgettable. He walks forward now with quiet certainty, not seeking to be noticed, but inevitably noticed. And in that stillness, in that disciplined detachment, a new form of power awakens, one that no woman can resist and no man can fake. The man who disappears is not gone. He has simply become the most powerful version of himself. The calmest man in the room is always the most powerful.